Hey y'all, coming at you from my front yard in sunny Claremont, Florida. So today we are going to go take a ride over to Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive. That is something that is an 11-mile long trail. You can go drive on that, and you got to kind of look it up and see what days it's open and what hours. Typically it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so that's something that you need to pay attention to and make sure that they are fully open. I think they're open on federal holidays as well, but you have to check and see. Anyway, we're going to go see some Florida wildlife. See you in a minute. Okay, so we've made it out to Lake Apopka Wildlife Drive, and literally it is a drive. You just come on in, and as you're coming down Lust Road, you come in and you're going to drive straight into it. There are places that you can get out. However, don't go right on the water's edge. You should not do that. And we're about to pass a sign, and it's going to tell you things that you should and shouldn't do. One of them is do not come down here and walk your pets. That's one of the things that is a big no-no. If you do not know, when you come to Florida, especially even at like rest areas, don't bring your pets down around the water's edge. That is asking for a gator, especially the little dogs. So please be so careful. I can't stress that enough. My son always says, you don't live in Florida, you survive Florida. So please survive Florida. All right, we're going to take off. Okay, so the sign here has a scan the QR code to open a map on your phone, access the auto tour, make a donation to assist with maintenance improvements. Printed maps are available in brochure holders. Allow 2 to 4 hours to complete the drive. It does say that your pets must be on a leash. Remember, like I said, you can walk them, you can do those things, but do not go to the edge of the water. Nothing over 25 feet. For vehicles, no boats, no drones, no fishing, no trailers, no feeding or harassing the wildlife. Trust me, you do not want to harass a gator. Oh look, there is a yellow belly slider down there right beside of this heron. I can see him. He's pretty good size too. That's the kind that I used to have. I had them for 21 years. They actually can live very much longer than that. But unfortunately, I lost mine both at 21 from a freak thing that happened with their filtration system, and unbeknownst to us, that's what happened. Yellow belly sliders and red ears and different types of slider turtles live abundantly in Florida. Mine actually came from Florida. I got them at in St. Augustine a long time ago, of course. All right, notice alligators are common in this area. They can be dangerous and should not be approached, frightened, or fed. Please give them the respect they deserve and keep your distance. There are some beautiful birds out here. I don't know what these are, but they have really like bluish green color with red on them. But as soon as we got here, look you guys, some big old gator. He's just hanging out in the swamp right here, living his best life. Look at him. And there's it's a she gator. It's got babies on it. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see the baby right there. There is a baby on his back. Let me see if I can zoom in. Hold on, let's see. Figure out your camera, Lisa. Here we go. Look at this. Oh my goodness. The little tiny one on her tail. It's just sitting on her tail. Look at that. I guess that's the mom. I don't know. I could be wrong. But that's awesome. Look how tiny. Look how tiny. Itty bitty little baby gator. Oh my gosh, you're so pretty. Look at this view out here, guys. Isn't that something? That's just the best place for the gators to be. some awesome vegetation. Oh, there's a big gator up in there. He's just kind of hanging out up in the trees up there. These are loads and loads and loads of like lily pads in here. But there was a huge gator back there laying up in the shade of the trees, literally in between them. By the way, Dennis is driving today, and you can see this on the other side as well. This is just a crazy view out here, you guys. It's just a big dirt road. People drive down it. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything other than your time and a little bit of gas, I guess. Probably not even that. It's only, like I said, 11 miles long. It's only certain times. Oh, look at this big gator right here. He looks like he's smiling. Hang on, let's see if we can zoom in on him. He's just living his best life out here too. Look at him. He's a good size. These gators are probably about, I'd say about 8 feet long, maybe. Think about what Florida looked like before all the houses, before all the people. Imagine the natives. You know, there was a huge Native American population in Florida. And can you imagine being a native, you know, eons ago, living out here and just seeing all these things and having to live amongst these things? You know, we live in houses now, and you just wonder, how in the world do these people live and exist with these literal dinosaurs out here? I know the first time I ever stood beside a sandhill crane, I thought I was going to die. If you don't know, the sandhills are about 4 foot tall, and they are beautiful birds. But they actually are kind of scary. You know, if you're not careful, and they have babies, which they're called colts. The babies are called colts, like a horse. If they have babies, they put their wings out, and their wingspan's really big, and they will come at you and let you know where the boundaries are, and it's something that you really just don't even know what to think when they come at you. But their sound is what was used on Jurassic Park. Oh my gosh! Hold on, you guys. Hang on. I gotta get out the window. Hold on. My seatbelt thing is probably gonna make noise. Hold on. Hopefully I don't drop this camera, because let me tell you something. There's a whopper right here on the side of the road. Hold on. He is enormous. Slow down. Oh my Lord. He is huge. You are humongous, sir. You're humongous. Look, he's literally, this is the closest I've ever been, other than getting my picture taken on alligator. Oh, he just shut his eyes like, shut up, lady. You're beautiful. You're worthy. Look at the flowers on your head. Oh my gosh. He's got to be about 10 feet. He, she, whatever you are. You're gorgeous. Thank you. Bye. I love your smile. That was one of the coolest things ever. Like, I've never been that close to that size gator. I did have my picture taken on one in Gatorland, but like I said, I've never been that close to one just out in the wild. The ones at Gatorland, you get your pictures taken on, there are people there, their mouths are, you know, sealed so they can't bite you. They're used to taking pictures with people. These guys are not. But did you see the flower? You know, the flower that he had on him? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I gotta find I think it's the crocodile king or alligator king that had like the crown thing on his head. I'm gonna find that picture and I'm gonna put it in right here. That's what that guy looked like to me. Just like that thing I remember from the 1970s, early 80s, when I was a kid, seeing him on there. And he sings a song. Maybe I'll post a link in the description if I can find it on YouTube. I'll look it up. I'll look it up. Look at this heron. I hope he shows up good on camera. He's really big. How pretty is that? What a scene. Listen to these birds communicating back and forth. They're just talking to each other. That's probably their version of Marco Polo. So I hope he shows up on here. That is an ibis over there with the crook bill. You know, you see the white ones with the really crooked bills. They're called ibises. These are red, like very dark purpley red. I've never seen one before. I've seen them before when I looked ibises up on Google, but I have never seen one of those in the wild. So that's a first. Check that box. Well, hello, handsome. How are you? That's a nice spot you got right there. So as you're driving along, if you look down and look into the water really close, you can see fish right now spawning. So there are all kinds of fish that you can see straight down into the water, different types of fish, but particularly we saw a really large one that was spawning, and I'm in the front of the car. I probably should have gotten in the back of the car so I could go back and forth from side to side, but it's kind of hard to drive and hold this, so I didn't want to pass this over to Dennis. He might run us in the alligator swamp, and we don't want that to happen. Huh. Dennis just brought something to my attention. The GPS is showing us just driving in the swamp. So, you know, no road, just driving in the swamp, driving in the swamp. So I just looked it up, and those red ibis are called scarlet ibis. Not just a red ibis, they're called scarlet ibis. Just for notes, just for notes. Oh my God, you guys, look. This guy is just swimming along. Look at him. Look at that tail. Look. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say. I just don't. Oh. Look at that big old toothy grin. Alright, so we stopped at a pull-off, and this guy is probably about, let's see, about 7 or 8 feet away, something like that. So, you know, hi, how you doing? You can stay over there. Okay, so on the pull-off, there's a lot of places to get out and walk around. One of the things that you see over here is this thing. And Dennis tried to tell me that was a slide. Honestly, that's not a slide. Don't try to slide off of that, because if you slide off of that, you're going to slide right down in there, right in the snappy, and that ain't a good thing. And as I'm out walking this trail, I cannot help but think of what might be in there. Oh, it's a bunny. I see a bunny. There's a bunny right there. Hi, bunny. You sure are cute. I like your colors. Don't be very careful, okay? Don't get ate by alligator today. Make sure you run really fast. Anyway, I'm just concerned about what might come out of the water. But, you know, I don't know, y'all. I don't know. It is beautiful out here, though. Absolutely beautiful. Here's a little bit of history. We walked up to the top of the hill, and it says, farm workers enrich the cultural history of Lake Apopka. The history of people and environment intertwine at Lake Apopka. So it says it has a long history as a farming community, began in the 1940s, about 20,000 acres of wetlands along the north shore of Lake Apopka. They were drained and diked to create farmland in the lake's rich marsh soil. This muck soil, in addition to a long growing season, produced a variety of vegetables. Imagine that. They drained everything down and used the muck soil to grow all kinds of vegetables. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? That's wild to me that they thought to use that, but I'm sure that with the rich ecosystem that's out here, that this is probably amazing soil underneath of here. just know, you know, we have to be really, really, really just fierce about protecting wetlands and wildlife and things like that. That's the stuff that life is all about. I mean, I know we get things in our head about, you know, oh, this great new thing or that great new thing, but when it comes down to, you know, ecosystems and wildlife and conservation, it's truly my heart. Truly my heart. I truly, truly love it. Okay, the sign says Magnolia Park, 4 miles to your left. North Shore Trailhead, 7.5 miles to your right. Green Mountain Trailhead, and that is 13.3. So, with all that being said, I guess you can visit those places if you want to. Look how beautiful this is. Isn't that pretty? It's so pretty. It's very windy out here today, but you know what? It's a beautiful day. Look at that big beauty. That is just serene. Just floating along, knowing that you don't have any real predators out here. This place is so very protected. I love that so much. So this beautiful soul has this t-shirt on. To the person behind me, you're amazing, beautiful, and enough. Remember that. I love that so much, friend, and thank you.
My absolute awesome.
Have a great day. Weight limit 50 tons. Let me go across this bridge right here. Look at that. Here, let me get out the window. How cool is that? This is literally one of the coolest days ever. Look at the gators over there. There are 3. Oh, look, he's moving around. There are 3 just in one spot. And another one over here, he was too close to the bridge for me to pan down for you to see him. But they're all over the place out here. Oh my goodness. Look at this guy. He is enormous on the side of the road. Hello, sir. How are you? Oh my goodness. You're a big old alligator. Wow. My gosh, I can't believe how big that guy was. He was literally had his whole tail out on the road. Didn't care. Cars, he's like, I ain't gonna be bothered. Big old alligator. Let me tell you, that thing that people say, if that water wet, there's a gator in it. It's true. They ain't wrong. There is another one up here, and people are hanging out the window taking pictures of him. And he literally just moved his foot, his tail, and opened his mouth. Oh my Lord. Peoples. No! 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 That is not what you do. Not get out of the car. Do not. If you think that gator cannot turn around and get in your car, you have lost your ever-loving mind. Ugh. 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 Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, we're coming up on this big guy. Got a big old tail. Oh, he got his mouth open too. Holy Moses. He's sleeping with his mouth open. Oh, no, he's not sleeping. He's pretending. He wants me to get out like those people try to do so he can snap on me. Look at all the purple flowers on top of the lilies out here. Aren't they beautiful? It's so pretty. Everything is so green out here and swampy out here, and then right in the middle, those little purple flowers are just right on time. Wow. All this swamp music. In the words of Ronnie Van Zant, swamp, 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 swamp music. Okay, word to the wise. When you come out here, there is one way in and one way out. So, just so you know, it might take a hot minute because people stop and there is a point where there is no passing for you to go around someone. So do not pull off the edge of the road where there is no passing, because if you go off the edge, you're literally going to be in swamp, and you do not want to do that. So we have a long line in front of us, and it goes way out over there to get out. You can see the cars way over there. So that is the way to get out, and everyone is lined up. But there are people who stop and they hold up the line. So just know that that's something that happens, and you might be a hot minute getting out of here. But the good thing is that while you're kind of hanging out, things happen that you wouldn't really think were going to happen while you're kind of hanging out waiting, when everything's quiet and still. When things are moving along, it's a little different, but when you sit for a minute and it's quiet, you see a lot of different things that you might miss. So don't miss out. So while we're waiting to get on out of here, I'll tell y'all a little something. So when we stop back there at the little pull-off, they have some Johnny on the spot bathrooms out there. Of course, my kidney's working overtime today, and or should I say Dennis's kidney, because he's the one that gave it to me. Anyway, I've done construction for years, and I have been in every kind of Johnny on the spot you can imagine at job sites and that type of thing. Doesn't bother me. Let me tell you something. There's a crack under the door about this big, and it's right by the water. Y'all, I ain't never kicked a toilet so hard in my life. I was so scared to go in there and take a pee, just for fear of what might be in there. And my grandmothers, both of them, on both sides of my family, they had outdoor toilets, but that was in Virginia. That wasn't on the side of a swamp in Florida where there might be something in there. Worst fear, nightmare come true, is that something's going to be in the toilet. Us women, we have an issue with that. Y'all didn't know that. I didn't say that. Shh, don't tell nobody. But literally out there, honey, you better watch your booty. I ain't trying to be mean, but people trying to get out of here, and these people are just sitting. Not the people in the red car in front of me, but the people up in front of them. They're sitting and sitting and sitting. These are the same ones that opened up the door and we're going to get out. And honestly, they just opened up the door on this other side and we're going to do the same thing. You don't get out in the swamp in Florida. You don't. You just don't. Don't. Look at this guy sitting over there with his mouth open. He is just sitting there taking in all that sun, but he looks cool doing it. I had to switch back to my sunglasses. If you don't know, it is very hard with regular glasses or your eyes to see gators in the water, but if you have polarized sunglasses, you can see them very clearly. It's gotten really sunshiny bright out here right now, so I decided to put them back on because you may not be able to see it on camera, but I can see them in the water, which is phenomenal, just to look down and see some of these really big ones. And there are some really big ones down in the water that are just not out sunning. There are people out walking around. You probably shouldn't do it. I'm just gonna turn the camera around just because this is closed off and locked for a reason. This lady has gotten out to go and take a picture of a heron, but you're not supposed to be over there. And there is a gator literally right there as we speak. If you want to be out, I get it, but I don't think that you should be on that side. They have that closed off for a reason, guys. This is the reason why. She is about to walk past an enormous gator right here. Enormous gator. Slow down, Dennis. Just as, hopefully this thing does not turn around. I hope not, but that right there is what you do not want to do. Yes, and that is why. That right there was a big, big, big no-no. She had no clue that that gator was laying there, and that is why you do not do that. You know, this isn't a park. This is wildlife. This is where these animals live, and you just don't do it. You don't do it. Seriously, let me turn this around and show you. These guys are laying up on the bank, and they're right down there at the edge of this water. And you see the one that just came up right there. They are out here, and you are not supposed to be on that side. You're not supposed to be on that side. That is why you are not supposed to be on that side. That side is probably for, you know, game and inland fisheries to have access, that type of thing. You should not be out of your car on the opposite side. This is literally like alligator alley down through here. I'm not even kidding you. Every probably 100 feet, there are gators laying out on the side. And I just cannot believe that that lady chose to do that. These are the people that just kept getting out of the car and getting out of the car and getting out of the car and opening up the doors and that type of thing. You're just not supposed to do it. This guy just cruising along. Oh, that looked like, those look like pike or something. Are there pike in Florida? I guess there are pike in Florida. You know, pike will roll on top of the water. That might be what they are. I know in Virginia when I was growing up, they would come up and get stuff, pike would, and they would just roll. The pike fish would roll. That's what it looks like. They might be gar. Maybe they're garfish. I gotta check it out. I'll find out and let you know. So I checked it out. There are no northern pike in Florida, obviously, but there are pickerel, which are like kin to a pike. So they roll on the top of the water like that. But there are garfish, and it says that Lake Apopka out here is loaded with garfish. It is also loaded with largemouth bass. So the fish that Dennis saw on the side of the road that was spawning was a big largemouth bass. You are not allowed to fish out here, but I bet you the bass are absolutely enormous, which drives me crazy because I love to fish. So I'm glad that they're protected out here. Tell me that's not a beautiful view. It's so pretty out here. It really, really, really is. We're almost to the end of the trail. It's taken a little while. There are people who are just stopping and not letting people pass them, and they're stopping for birds and, you know, things like that. And I guess they thought the birds weren't going to get out of the road. The birds will get out of the road. They always do. Look at that pretty view. Isn't that cool? Look at the clouds. I bet you sunset is beautiful out here. Look at this guy. Super cool. All right, we've reached the end of the Wildlife Drive, and here is some information at the end if you want to stop and check it out. There are some rather large potholes through here, so just be prepared. Okay, we're finally back home. That was so many alligators, you guys, so many. We probably saw 60 plus alligators today, and so many birds and turtles and fish and different things. And it was just a really, really nice ride out through there. It was a nice walk on the little area that you could walk around at. My pool is given today. Hang on a second, let me turn around here. Isn't it looking pretty? It looks so pretty. The problem is, it's only like 72 degrees in the water right now. I gotta turn my heater on. I don't know. I mean, I might. We'll see. We'll see. I love to get in this thing and swim. I'm glad there's no alligators in that. But people in Florida get alligators in their pool for sure. I would die if I had one. We did get a snake in here one time. But my pool girl, Ellie, she sees so many of those, she doesn't care. She comes around, takes a net, and just gets them right out and acts like it's nothing. I'm like, that's a Florida woman right there for you. For sure. She's Scottish, straight from Scotland, but she's a Florida woman through and through. Much more so than me. The only thing I can say about today is it was beautiful and so worth it. It was so worth it. I can't even tell you how worth it was. Free. It takes a little bit of time. You drive around, you get to see all these animals in a natural habitat. And that's the thing is, you know, to see them in natural habitat is absolutely amazing. And like I said, we've got to work on conservation. Don't throw your trash out the window. Put it in the proper places. Don't dump things out on the ground. Don't let things go out in the air. Don't do things like that. It's just bad. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for you. It's bad for people to come. And let's make sure that we're protecting all of that. Because God forbid we lose all that wildlife. It's just so beautiful. And everything is just one big giant ecosystem. Like I said, look up trophic cascade. When you take something away or something dies out, it really gives a big issue for other things. Let's not do that. Earth is beautiful. Let's keep it that way. You know, the lady today almost gave me a heart attack with getting out of her car and going through that barrier and going around. Don't ever do that. Those barriers are there for a reason. I am so glad that she did not get hurt. I thought for sure this woman was going to be on the news from my video clip. I'm so glad that that was not the case. With all that being said, be careful when you come down to Florida. Take it all in. Love it all up. Share it with other people. Be kind to it, and it will be kind to you. Be responsible. Practice conservation. Please, please, please. And listen, do yourself a favor. Come down and do something fun. If you're headed down this way, let me know. I would love to go take that trip around Lake Apopka again with you. We'll go vlog it. How about that? We'll go on a big adventure. Maybe next time we'll see a skunk ape. Just kidding. But maybe. You don't ever know. That's the kind of environment he likes, apparently. We're gonna go check on that guy. There's a lot of people that chase it around Florida, so let's see what we can find out about it. I think some cryptids might be in order soon. What do you think? We just might do it. With all this being said, you're beautiful. You're handsome. You're wonderful. You're worthy. You are enough. You might not be everything to the world, but you're everything to someone. You're also loved. You're so, so very loved. And guess what? I love you. Okay.